Mike Bond here in Abu Dhabi with Dan Hooker, who co-headlines UFC 257 against the debuting Michael Chandler. Dan, man, how are we doing? Settling in well?
Real well. So we got here, man, I've been a while. Been there like 5 days, so we're settled in pretty well. 48-hour quarantine, got that out of the way, but it's good weather. I can't complain about that.
Yeah, obviously big fight feel, right?
Oh, 100%. Coming over here and then just with all the announcements that keep coming out, and you can feel there's like a different level of excitement because the main event being like a Conor McGregor card. You can definitely feel that. I got my like fight week schedule and so much to look forward to. The press conference and there's just an added bit of excitement.
And we'll get into the press conference because I think that's going to be an interesting time. But as far as actually being here, and maybe it doesn't matter because we are here on fight week, but it seems like getting this fight together from your perspective, maybe a little frustration, would you say? I mean, it seemed like you were in, maybe you're out, you're in. Can you just tell us a little bit about the road to actually getting this confirmed?
Yes and no. Yes and no. Outside of the gym, there was it was all up in the air outside of the gym. I wasn't getting a quick response, and I was unsure. I got approached about this fight 7 weeks ago, and then we didn't get it signed and sealed till like a week before I flew out. So it was up in the air for a good 6 weeks of training camp, and that was I was training through Christmas, training for the holidays. You can see everyone taking that time off. See Israel down at concerts and enjoying New Zealand summer, which is something that I love very much. But it's the training, I was 100% in. I was in. There's no in or out when it comes to the training. Every session I was committed. Every session I was working hard. So when this fight finally got sealed, I was thankful because I'd done so much heavy lifting by that point. I've been training my ass off, training 100% for 6 weeks before that. So I was just so grateful that it got done.
Yeah. So would you say more just the mental side of it, not knowing if you're 100% training for something that's going to happen? You could have been doing that, and it could have been for not potentially, but obviously it worked out for the best.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, none of that matters. None of that matters. The only thing that matters is that you're putting in the work. If I go home and I'm sitting on my couch watching TV, going, am I actually going to Fight Island? Am I actually going to Abu Dhabi? That is not gonna change the outcome of the fight. The only thing that's gonna change the outcome of the fight is how much work you're putting in the gym and getting those training sessions and putting those rounds in the bank. And that's what I made sure I did.
Yeah, so when you finally did sign it and it was confirmed, did you feel maybe that week, you said you were training hard regardless, but was it an extra boost of okay, this is 100% happening, I'm going, and I'm fighting on this massive card?
More just uplift and energy, just because a lot of that you keep to yourself. Your inner circle knows, your team knows, your training partners, they know that the fight's happening, but none of it's all speculative, and the media or just the people at the gym coming in and training, the people you're surrounded by, or your friends and family. A couple of them know, they know, but once a fight gets announced and once a fight gets official, then you get an influx of energy, people giving you their energy and their support. Then everyone at your gym's man, I can't wait for this. Everyone, all your friends, all your family start messaging you, being man, this is exciting. You're going over there, co-main event, big card. So it's just a last minute injection of energy, which was cool.
Is there something fun about welcoming Michael Chandler to the UFC too? I mean, you kind of know the contenders that were in this division for the past few years since you moved up, but then you have this new guy who's coming in, a lot of hype around him. He was obviously the backup for the Khabib and Gaethje fight. There's something kind of new about that, who maybe he wasn't on the radar, and he comes in and obviously presents a challenge that maybe you weren't expecting a year or so ago.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, that does excite me. That's why when he got put in as the backup for the title fight, I was one of the first guys just to put my hand up and be man, I'll welcome him, because there was so much excitement around him. There was so much hype coming in behind him that I would I'm as interested as everyone else. Like you have to understand. Like yeah, I've watched him fight. Yeah, I've obviously had a look at that and studied that. But who really knows? Because the only really crossover from that group is like Eddie Alvarez a long time ago, like Ben Henderson, since he shifted over to Bellator. Like those are the only ones we kind of know. Like there's not a lot of familiar faces on his record. So I'm as interested as the fans to see what his level is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Do you feel like it's a good matchup for you, though? I mean, I feel like when you kind of look at the physical attributes and everything, like you're really good with the knees and everything. He's kind of a shorter, bit stockier kind of guy. Do you think this is kind of tailor-made for you to shine, maybe in terms of the striking especially?
I feel like studying him and looking at how his game matches up. Yeah, I think so. I don't feel like it's the fight he would have, if he could have picked. I don't think I'm the guy that he would have picked, like a long, rangy striker who's going to keep it long. Yeah, we both know what each other needs to do. He needs to close the distance. He needs to get in my face, and he needs to get me down. That's like one thing he needs to do. But that's something that I welcome. Like that's something I've dealt with for like a majority of my career is people shorter than me that want to take me down. So I feel like that's a style which I'm far more familiar with than like someone coming in and doing something else. Like a shorter fighter who's gonna throw punches and try to take me down. Like that is really the style that my game is. It's built around that game.
Yeah, and in 2020, you gave us 2 of the best fights of the year, obviously 5-rounders. Going back to 3 here, is there anything you can take away from those longer fights into going in, whether you can change the pace you're fighting at over 3 rounds, knowing how you were able to fight over 5? Is there anything you take back going back to a 3-round fight here after the 2 grueling 5-rounders last year?
Yeah. Like I'm familiar with that. I'm familiar with that's 2 wars. I spent a solid hour. That's a whole lot of octagon experience, spending an hour, and it's very fresh in my mind. It's very familiar in my mind. So I feel like all the lessons I learned from those 2 fights will be applied in this fight. And yeah, it is going to be, I wouldn't say easier, because it's still going to be difficult. Like you can still get very tired in the 15 minutes, but cutting off that last 10 is a whole different ball game. You know, Chandler comes out on fire. He comes out with a very fast pace, and I'm excited to just match that pace. Like there's no nothing in the back of my head that's going to worry about anything. I've had a full camp for this fight. I feel like I understand the opponent very well, and I'm just excited, and I can go out there. I'm feeling good, no injuries, and I'll back my cardio 100% in this fight.
So what's at stake here in your mind? I mean, of course, we thought Khabib Nurmagomedov was going to give a yes or a no as far as his future. Is he going to give up the title? Is he going to come back and fight? Dana White tells us on the broadcast on Saturday night it's basically a maybe, and his conversation with him was he might consider coming back, but he wants to see something spectacular from one of the 2 lightweight fights that are going down at UFC 257. What do you make of those comments, and does that give you maybe a little added motivation? Of course, you're trying to go in there and win the best way possible always, but when you hear him say that, does it say, hey, if I do something great enough, maybe I'm the guy who can slide in there?
Yeah, that's more that's like in the back of my head, like what is going to come from this. But I definitely know that something big is going to come from this, because it's high risk. It's high risk, and this is the sport of people that take the risks get the rewards. You know, they went down the list trying to find an opponent for Chandler. No one wanted to take the risk, and this is the way that the sport works. You take the risk. I flew over here. I'm fighting the unknown fighter. I'm taking the risk, so that warrants getting the reward for that, right? Whatever that may be.
Do you wish, though, there was like Khabib had said yes or no definitively, just so we either maybe have a vacant belt on the line, or just maybe a little more clarity? It still seems a little murky as far as exactly what he's going to do in the future of lightweight.
Yeah, that's that at this point would like just lead to a bit of a distraction. Like what Khabib's going to do is as far as I'm concerned, the guy says he's retired. The guy says this, like he's retired. If you say you're retired, in my mind, you're retired. Like, my focus is to fight the best in the world. My focus is to fight whoever's holding the belt, and that's whoever that may be.
Definitely. And of course, you mentioned earlier the press conference. What do you think that scene is going to be like on Thursday with you, Dustin, Conor, and Michael all up there together? And what kind of interactions are you expecting to have? Maybe not just with Michael, but with maybe Conor and Dustin as well.
To be honest, like, I'm a fan of the sport. I'm just like everyone else. It'll be pretty surreal to be like sitting up with those guys at such a huge press conference like that. Yeah, I don't put too much thought. I'm not a guy that goes away and practices my lines in the mirror or anything like that. I'm just going to take it as it comes. But I would say, the 99% of the focus will be on Conor and what he's going to do and what he's going to say.
Well, I feel like there's been some really fun Conor press conference moments, and they're not always with the guy that he scheduled to fight on that upcoming thing. So who knows? Maybe you guys have a fun interaction or something.
Oh, you do, yeah. You gotta be on your toes. You can't come in there. I have a couple of coffees before I sit down at the press conference. You don't want to get who the fuck is that guy or something like that. he could chuck you in the can in one line.
How do you think that fight goes between him and Dustin? Obviously, you were just in there with Dustin for 5 rounds, so you maybe have a better idea than most people.
Yeah, it's a bit of a risk. Like they say, it's like a golden rule of fighting is never take a rematch unless you feel like you can do better than the first time. And I say it's a risk because I don't think he can do better than that first fight. I feel like Dustin's a whole different animal. At 55, like, he's a big guy, durable, great tank. So they match up incredibly well. Conor's going to be dangerous for that first round and a half, but Dustin really comes on as the fight progresses. So that one's up in the air. I'm on the fence.
Awesome. And just last thing, Michael Chandler has said that you weren't necessarily on his radar coming in, but he thinks you're the most difficult matchup for him in this division. What does it look like on Saturday night when you guys get in there?
Yeah, it's going to be pretty obvious because the game is pretty obvious. He needs to put me on my back. He needs to back me up and get on the inside. If he can't do that, and he can't do that early on, he's going to start getting in trouble. So I think in the first round, by the end of the first round, it's going to be pretty clear how this fight's going to play out.
Interesting. Well, looking forward to it, Dan. Really appreciate the time and best of luck at UFC 257.
Thank you very much.